At 7:10 a.m. on November 22, 2025, the calm surface of the Eastern Pacific shattered with a single radar contact inside the USS Sampson's Combat Information Center. One fast-moving blip slicing across the screen 380 nautical miles southwest of Acapulco. The CIC isn't the place where mysteries are tolerated. Within seconds, watchstanders pull every piece of data they can, and the picture sharpens. A small, low-profile speedboat running the wave tops at dangerous velocity, the kind cartels use when they want to outrun entire nations. No flag, no call sign, no response to hails. And then movement. On the forward FLIR display, tiny dark shapes flick off the stern of the vessel. Packages, dozens, evidence trying to disappear into the sea before the law can catch up. On the bridge, Commander Matthew Harding doesn't need a courtroom to tell him what happens next. He needs speed, air, and eyes overhead. Set condition 3, launch Romeo. His order ripples through the ship like an electrical surge. 90 seconds later, an MH-60R Seahawk from HSM-49, callsign Reaper 1, leaps off the deck, banking hard to the southeast as its rotors chew through the morning air. The pilot knows the mission well. Sampson isn't here by chance. It is knee-deep in Pacific Watch, a large-scale interdiction campaign designed to choke the cartel's long-range maritime arteries. And today, one of those arteries is about to get cut. Intelligence analysts estimate the load at nearly $58 million. But the suspects have no idea they're already trapped. Reaper 1 tears across the surface at 120 knots, hovering barely 200 feet above the waves. This isn't a show of presence. This is a pursuer built for the hunt. The MH-60R carries door gunners, advanced targeting pods, and a hardened Coast Guard Law Enforcement Detachment LEDET 104 embedded for exactly this kind of takedown. They've trained for this moment 100 times, but this time the threats are real and the margins razor thin. As the helicopter closes within visual range, the go-fast boat panics. It snaps into a sharp zigzag, then guns westward at full throttle, trying to lose itself in the endless horizon. But physics doesn't negotiate, and an airborne hunter closing from above always wins the long game. Desperation takes over. More packages start flying overboard, fast, frantic, and increasingly sloppy. One smashes into the vessel's own hull and detonates into a flash of white spray. That's not fuel. That's contraband so volatile it reacts the moment seawater hits it. A dangerous sign for the crew and a confirmation for the Americans. Reaper 1's FLIR locks on tight. For the first time, the suspects look up. Still no radio calls, no compliance, no attempt to slow down. The window for voluntary surrender is gone. The Seahawk banks left, sliding into an attack angle as the door gunner braces at the open hatch. The tension spikes in the cabin. Every member of LEDET 104 knows the next step in this choreography. Warning shots, a final attempt to force the suspects to stop before things escalate further. The Pacific below looks calm, but inside the chase the air is electric. A razor-edge moment where training, judgment, and raw velocity collide. And Reaper 1, with justice strapped into its cabin, is about to make its presence impossible to ignore. The door gunner leans out into the slipstream, steadies his weapon, and sends a controlled burst slicing across the water, stitching a warning line barely 30 feet off the fleeing boat's starboard side. The message couldn't be clearer. Stop now, or the next rounds won't be a warning. But the suspects refuse, engine screaming, still heaving contraband into the sea in a frantic attempt to erase evidence. Inside the Sampson CIC, Commander Harding makes the call no commander takes lightly. Disable that engine. Seconds later, Reaper 1 arcs back in, and this time the gunner aims to end the chase. With surgical precision, rounds rip into the outboard motors. One sputters, flashes, then goes dark. The vessel jerks hard, bleeding speed until it's dead in the water, smoke curling off the shattered housing. Defeated, the suspects finally raise their hands toward the helicopter above. But the operation is far from over. Reaper 1 keeps station as two RHIBs launch from Sanson's port side, knifing across the waves with visit, board, search, and seizure teams strapped in full kit, full speed, zero hesitation. In under 4 minutes, they're on scene, turning a high-speed chase into a federal case. This phase isn't just about seizing drugs. It's about arrests, evidence preservation, and navigating the tight intersection of naval authority and U.S. law enforcement jurisdiction. The RHIBs fan out, water spraying as the teams sweep in. Commands echo in Spanish and English. No resistance. Two exhausted men in their mid-30s drop to their knees on the dripping fiberglass deck, adrenaline still pulsing in their eyes as they stare at the circling Seahawk. They're unarmed, but the floating bales around them, more than a dozen, are far more dangerous, each one bobbing in the swells, tagged and secured by the boarding team. Once the suspects are restrained, LEDET 104 steps forward for the legal transition. Under international maritime law, a vessel with no flag, no registration, and no claim of nationality is stateless, giving U.S. forces full authority to interdict, search, and detain. And on this stretch of the Pacific, that legal distinction just sealed the fate of everyone on board.
That status, stateless, gives the United States full legal authority to board, search, and seize under maritime law. And because the Go Fast ignored every hail and refused to claim nationality, the Coast Guard now holds primary jurisdiction over everything that happens next. Field test kits snap open. A soaked brick is sliced, revealing a compacted layer of fine white powder. The team sergeant places a trace sample onto the chemical strip. Seconds later, it blooms bright blue, an unmistakable confirmation of cocaine. The count begins. 47 bales recovered, roughly 3,439 pounds total. Wholesale value, around $58 million. Street value, easily triple, depending on the distribution route. For the suspects, those numbers aren't just statistics. They're federal charges waiting to be filed. The detainees are cuffed and read their rights under U.S. Maritime Drug Enforcement Protocol. They stay silent. Meanwhile, the boarding team inspects the vessel itself. What they find is a death trap. No working lights, shredded engines, cracked hull, no radio, no flotation gear, and no means of tow. The boat isn't seaworthy. It's a hazard. One LEDT operator radios back to Sampson. Vessel secure, 2 detainees, cocaine confirmed. Craft is classified as a navigational hazard.
If you were in command of the USS Sampson and that Go Fast refused to stop, what call would you have made? Early disabling fire? Block with RIBs? Or hold off and risk the evidence sinking? Drop your decision in the comments.